During World War II, a plethora of new technologies emerged and a lot of existing ones came of age. One of these was the mobile two-way radio pioneered by Motorola and others. Their walkie-talkies used by soldiers in Europe and the Pacific revolutionized mobile communications. At the end of the war, the demand for mobile radios increased, and as a result, two-way radio service was founded by local radio pioneer Ralph Wergman, who received his first radio license in 1920 from the Department of Commerce. Ralph's background included stints as a broadcast engineer for local radio stations, including WTBO, and as a lineman for Potomac Edison. In the 1960s, TWR set up shop in nearby Short Gap, West Virginia, and employed 3 people working out of a one-car garage with no indoor toilet. Jeff Hutter came to TWR in January 1970 after working for a subsidiary of General Telephone installing long-distance equipment. He was hired through a commercial employment agency and had to pay $172 to get his job, a princely sum at that time. In 1973, employees Jeff Hutter, Ron Harding, and Bob Krieger bought the company from Wergman. In the ensuing years, Harding and Krieger moved on to other endeavors, with Ken Schaefer replacing them. In 1974, a longtime customer, Kelly Springfield Tire, asked TWR to take over maintenance of major portions of his computer network, a job that lasted for over 6 years and eventually led to computer-related work for many banks, hospitals, and Westvaco. Things were busy in the 70s as the company engineered the upgrading and replacement of most of the traffic signal network for Cumberland and provided radio services for the many contractors working on the Bloomington Dam and the I-48, I-68 highway project. In 1975, Cumberland received grants to upgrade its wired municipal fire alarm system that consisted of hundreds of pool boxes mounted on poles and buildings throughout the city. The new wireless system used small radio transmitters powered by generators in the box that were energized when the handle was pulled down to send an alarm. This was revolutionary at the time, as no batteries or other power sources were needed. TWR soon found itself running out of room, and the company moved to facilities adjacent to the Risley Fire Hall Bar, a very convenient location for meetings. The business continued to grow, and larger quarters were needed, resulting in another move, this time to Cumberland at 637 North Center Street during 1980. Up to this point, the company had a narrow focus in radio, traffic lights, computer work. This was soon to change. TWR continued to expand into allied fields when it bought out Electronic Security Systems in 1983 and entered the alarm security business. In 1988, TWR moved again, this time to Valley Street, dramatically expanding its services including telephone answering service, paging, alarm monitoring, mobile telephone. Its entry into these other businesses was a direct result of customer requests that the company provide these services. Besides being the only local provider of such services, TWR was the first to offer fully automatic mobile telephone service throughout the region. Unfortunately, with changes in technology and the advent of cellular service, this came to an end by 2000. The 1990s were a busy time for Jeff when he started serving on various communications trade association boards. It took him all over the country. This included serving on NABER's Radio Paging Council in 1991, and later, as NABER and the Personal Communications Industry Association, PCIA, merged, Jeff assumed the chairmanship of its Mobile Wireless Alliance group that represented the mobile radio dealership community for the nation. Jeff chaired numerous meetings and functions held throughout the country, making presentations at conferences and seminars. He also served on PCIA's board of directors, along with many top communications CEOs, and helped to mold policies and regulations, including the Telecom Reform Act of 1996. Jeff worked in this capacity up to 2002, when he stepped down from both positions. He still remains active on the national level, periodically writing articles for communications trade magazines. When local dial-up internet providers sold out to large national firms, TWR stepped up to the plate in 1997 and offered local service. This continued until 2006, when the demand for low-speed dial-up was rapidly declining. The company now concentrates its efforts on wireless internet services. In 1997-1998, TWR took on a lot of projects, including the complete replacement of its communications facilities at Dan's Rock. A new building with backup generator was installed and a large tower erected that would accommodate its future needs. TWR was an exhibitor for the PACE 1998 reception, showcasing its new communications facilities and entry into the internet business. Jeff Hutter went on to serve on the PACE committee in various capacities for many years. During the 1990s, TWR merged most of the other radio shops operating in the area into TWR. It's one of the oldest continuously operated communications dealerships in the country. 1999 was a year for expansion as TWR added on to its Valley Street building to cover the meteoric growth of its hereintown.net business. Unfortunately, it would only be a temporary solution. Over the years, TWR has worked closely with the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, and Kenny and Jeff were invited to attend the dedication for the Big Dish at Green Bank, West Virginia in 2000. By the fall of that year, TWR was quickly running out of space, and after a lot of looking, a contract was signed to purchase the former Buchanan Lumber property at Center and Pear Streets. For many years, Jeff Hutter chaired the Chamber Crab Feast. Under his leadership, the Crab Corps was launched using TWR employees. This method has now become the standard for the Chamber and is used every year to keep the crabs rolling. Jeff graduated from the Leadership Allegheny program in 2000 and since then has been a supporter of the program with 4 employees participating. In early 2001, Gary McKenzie, a very talented young man, came to work for TWR and he quickly rose through the ranks, helping TWR expand its paging answering service operations, and within a couple of years was in charge of its retail operations, which now includes cell phone sales and self-storage units. He was elected to TWR's Board of Directors in 2010 and is Senior Vice President and COO. In the fall of 2001, not long after 9/11, TWR started on rehabbing the 549 North Center Street property, which had to be completed within a few months, as Mel's Business Systems wanted to move into Valley Street as soon as possible. By February of 2002, TWR moved most of its operations into a partially completed building so that Mel's could move its operations. With thousands of phone lines to move, it took until May of 2002 to complete the transition. It will be another 7 to 8 years to totally complete renovations of the property, which virtually included everything except for the walls holding the roof up. Jeff was elected as Chamber President in 2005 after having served many years as a board member as well as a member of the Executive Committee. In 2009, the Allegheny County Chamber asked Jeff to be their representative on the Board of Directors of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce, and he's in his 3rd term. As a leading-edge technology company, TWR has had to grow and change with the times, and the years ahead should be as interesting as the last 66 years. Please join us in honoring TWR Communications as the Allegheny County Chamber of Commerce's Business of the Year recipient.